over the weekend, we had a lot of people ask me why I posted a tweet saying that I think June 30th will be the last time that I'm gonna invest in anything this cycle. Now that may divvy up a little bit, but I won't be aggressively investing at all, and there might be a couple that slip through the cracks that I want to invest in regardless. But in general, I'm gonna give you my reasoning as to why I said that and where that comes from, so you can see that it wasn't just a crystal ball thing. Other than that, we're gonna be looking at RWA platform projects, ones that are new, ones that are old, ones that haven't come out yet, as well as look at where is Bitcoin going next and what is a CME gap. Today, we're gonna look at all those things and how they all play out. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you like and subscribe this video, and let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna start on the CME today, where you can clearly see there is a gap. So gaps happen because the CME closes on Fridays and opens on Mondays, and over the weekend, Bitcoin stays active. People can continue trading it, but not on the CME. So sometimes it closes lower and opens higher, sometimes it opens higher and closes lower, but generally we have these things called gaps, and you can clearly see them. So as you can see here, yesterday it pretty much filled, right? And so that would tell us that, you know, we could likely either go up or come down further, but it looks like it's filled. Now on this chart here, it's pretty much got almost filled, but not completely. But when we look at Bitcoin's chart, it actually did fill all the way down to 68,200, and that's pretty much the level where we actually opened on this candle right here, which you can see at the top of the screen right here where it says, oh, 68,230. We go over here, we can go to this candle, and it is 68,210. So we filled the gap technically on some charts, but not on others. But in my opinion, that gap has been filled. I did warn about this in this tweet right here, where I said right now we're at 70,200. Likely we could fill that gap. We filled it within 2 days. It was a great opportunity for people that noticed that. And you should always pay attention to CME gap, because generally they fill. They may not fill right away, and I can show you many examples of that. But the reasoning is that when we have these gaps, they get filled. So as you can see right here, that gap was filled within 5, 6, 7 days. Now sometimes they don't, but over 80% of the time that happens. So you kind of can wait and look for it, but you can't just trade on it because there's a gap, because sometimes they don't fill for months at a time, but they generally will get back to those points. So it's something just to keep note of and always plan for. Fail to plan to fail. If you plan for it, you know what's coming. All right, now Bitcoin, where is it going this week? That's a great question. What we're seeing is that Kijinsen hooking up, which is good. It's not super flat anymore. I mean, on the CME it is, but we have more data on Binance here. So we're gonna use that data because it's a little bit more accurate. There's more time that Binance has been open than the CME has been open. Where we're looking here, we're looking at what's the next thing. So we're seeing it's kind of holding this support right now. We're having a hammer off of it potentially. That was a really nasty candle yesterday. So a lot of people may have been scared selling out. So we can see looking at Farside that on the 8th, we had 223 million sold off. And yesterday we had 18 million sold off, which isn't as much, but you're seeing that these guys from Grayscale are selling off aggressively again. But one good thing is if they kept selling 300 a day, it would likely be only a couple more months before they ran out of Bitcoin. So likely not everyone's going to sell their Bitcoin. And so that eventually that's going to subside. We don't know if it'll be in a month. We don't know if it'll be 3 more weeks, maybe by halving, but that's something we have to take note of and be really aware of. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Where is it going next? If it holds this level, we're likely going to try and push back towards the 70s. If not, we could have a little dip and then into the halving start seeing that push. So that $67,000 level is still quite relevant. It even come down all the way to 64, but I don't think that's super realistic because there's still a demand for Bitcoin. And you know, when we have these lulls for a couple days, we generally get a big day coming after that. So I would just be patient and wait here. The halving is going to dictate a lot. So and we also have the Hong Kong blockchain stuff going on this week, and then later this week we also have the Dubai blockchain week at 2049. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think that will probably stagnate the market a little bit, but with the halving, it could create a huge pump. So definitely be someone patient waiting for that and plan ahead so that you do not fail. Okay, now looking at Ethereum, we jump right in. It doesn't look as good, but as long as we don't have a bearish TK cross where the green crosses below the red, then we're good. I did talk about this level, how we're gonna break into the candles and likely could break above the candles afterwards within a couple weeks. Well, likely within the next 5, 6, 7 days, we could see that it breaks back out as long as our price action starts to pop off a bit. I could see that definitely happening. So ETH again is also in a holding pattern. I think the whole market is kind of in this maybe a mini consolidation period because everyone's kind of waiting for what the halving will do. Some people are talking about a left-sided market, which means that the market cycle will end earlier. Every cycle we have something like that, but I wouldn't use that as my defining moment as to what I'm going to actually do. I would just know know that that could happen, but realistically, we had a super cycle that was going to happen last cycle, didn't happen. This cycle, likely, we're not going to have a left-sided market. We're just going to have a very normal market cycle, in my opinion, but with ETFs, that will stop Bitcoin dropping as much as it has, because with real investors coming in from institutions, they're not as much going to play the in and out game like a lot of the retail guys will, and the newer crypto funds do as well. So we're watching these candles on ETH, but it looks pretty good, and we all know that there could be next month an ETH ETF, and if that happens, we all know that my targets are in tens of thousands of dollars, so that's pretty great. So looking at RWA platforms, they've been performing extremely well, and because they've been performing extremely well, we're looking at these today because their charts look really good, right? So what are we looking for from Ondo? A lot of people have been talking about Ondo. I've been following Ondo for quite some time. When I look at it, I go, look, they're an RWA platform that checks one box. We're looking at where can we buy it. So it kind of topped out over here at around $1.06. I'm looking at around 66.5 cents to buy back in. And the reason is because I can see that there's that Kijin that's flattening out, and the price likes to pull down towards it like it did over here. So that's what we're watching for with Ondo. Going on to Pendle, I had a friend tell me this project, I think it was like 50, 60 cents. RWAs were kind of not really, we didn't know where they were going, so I didn't invest early enough, unfortunately. But I'm looking now for where can I enter, right? So when I'm looking at Pendle, I'm looking at this level right here, but somewhere in between the 21 EMA, Tenkin, and the Kijin, somewhere in that range, and that's around $5. I'm looking at my alert going off and getting ready for an entry point there, because again, they have a fully bullish chart. Chiku span's way above candles. We have a bullish TK cross that happened, and we're above the clouds. So these are good things to look for. Moving on to Goldfinch, as you can see, the dotted line, that's where I'm looking to buy, right on the Kijin bounce. We have a hooking up Tenkin, which is bullish. We have candles way above the candles with the Chiku span for at least a few more weeks, which could go into the halving, which could go into BlackRock, talking about tokenizing everything. So we have a lot of positives there as well. So I'd be looking to buy at around $3.65. Next up is Nexera. I almost had my alert hit. I missed it by 0.02 cents. So almost got there. Will it come back there again? Likely it could. So I'm waiting for that, and that will be my buying entry point for Nexera, or Alliance Block, same company. Next up, again, very similar chart. So as you can see, I know I'm going fast, but I think you guys like that. It's that we have to look for similar patterns, and patterns play out very similarly most of the time. That's why with the Ichimoku, you have basically better than casino odds to win your trades if you're doing them consistently and you're looking for the same things and you're writing notes about which trades work and why. These things will help you make even higher ratio decisions where you actually can make even more money because you can see them a little bit ahead of time, which is why I use Ichimoku. It lets you plan instead of seeing it break out and go, oh crap, I need to get in the breakout, right? So it's a little bit more hands off, which honestly, the less you do sometimes the trading, the better. A lot of people I know in the crypto space overtrade, and overtrade causes you to lose a lot more money than you realize. You're giving a lot of money back because you're just trying to be in a trade to be in a trade. Avoid that as much as possible. Credefi's a really funny one. I invested in this last cycle. Last cycle, I thought it was pretty much dead, because when I went to go look at it, when it was in my wallet, it was like there was no liquidity. I was like, all right, we'll just leave this and see what happens. Friend calls me up who heard me say this like a year ago, said, hey man, have you seen Credefi? I'm like, oh, that one? Like, how is it doing? He's like, go check your wallet. And I was like, holy moly, because it literally mooned really, really hard from the bottom here. So I was really excited about that, and it's pretty much almost at all-time high. Now we're looking for where is Credefi going to go again. Like I said, we're looking for the same types of trades here. We're looking for that Kijin bounce, right? So I'm looking at the first level at 3.3 cents, and if it doesn't hold, I'm looking at the level a little bit below around 2.5 cents. So that would be my buying areas for Credefi to buy more. And why? It's because RWAs are popping off, so we want to kind of look at that. Now, opportunity knocks with this one. Frax just talked about how they're going into the RWA sector. Now, Frax is a project that I love because I got in last cycle. It did extremely well, and it hasn't really come back strong just yet. So there's a big opportunity with Frax, right? And not only that, it's a really great DeFi platform. So now adding RWAs adds more real yielding opportunities. So it just makes a lot of sense for me looking at what they're doing. And I think Frax, because of the market share they have, the market cap they have, etc., they could definitely push towards $50 again this cycle, and maybe even higher because of their connections with the US government, with former presidents, etc. They have a lot of really smart minds involved, and I think that Frax could be one of those projects that, if you're not really researching it, could kind of come out of nowhere and surprise you. So look for Frax for sure. Now, a new project that just launched yesterday. It has a very slow vesting of 24 months. So there's 2 years of vesting from now. Only 5% of the tokens went out. There's a good opportunity for growth. The CEO, Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, talks about Truflation as a great opportunity. They have a project called Nuon as well attached. And what Truflation does is look at the real inflation, not what they're telling us the inflation is. And it adjusts to inflation. So imagine having a stable coin where the dollar, but like inflation comes, and now like that stable coin should go up in value because obviously the dollar, that stable coin, isn't so stable when they're printing off tons of money. So that's part of what they're doing. They have RWA built in as well. I think that there's a lot of interest that's come from them, the great marketing from the team. Keep your eyes on Truflation. It's not up crazy amounts right now from the public sale price and the private sale price. So there could be opportunity, but you may want to wait just in case there's a sell-off to potentially get in there. Okay. Now, I had this tweet that I put out and I said my last investment is going to go in on the 30th of June. And I don't mean that I won't invest at all, but I'll be very picky if I go into anything after that. And the reason is, at that point, we'll have about 10 months left in the cycle. My projections are that by May 2025, it could go a little bit longer, but by May 2025, we are going to see the end of the cycle. And if we see the end of the cycle by May 2025, it doesn't mean that everything will just go straight down. It means that most of my investments will have been, sold into stables or Bitcoin and kind of waiting for bottoming out and doing exactly what I did this cycle, which is starting to plan for what I want to put my capital in when things get bottomed out, when I feel like the bottom's in again, like I did last cycle. Now, why I do that is because most of the vesting schedules are over a year. And if you're not going to get most of your tokens in a bull market, in the bear market, I've seen this since I've been in crypto, many people sell every single time they get tokens because they know that everyone else needs money. And so everyone else starts to sell. And the deeper in the bear market you go, the faster people sell because they need cash and they didn't realize, like, oops, I should have sold more. That's many people every single cycle. So instead of being in that position, I'm going to heavily take profit closer to the end of the cycle, which I think is around May. And of course, I'll still probably have vestings coming in, things like that. But I'm going to be a lot smarter and plan it a little bit different this time, because I think this time, had I done that last time even more aggressively, then I would have had made even more capital to buy in this cycle to make even more capital, right? So it's all about the plan and what you're trying to achieve. I'm not a big meme coiner, for example. I go in some of them, but in general, I'm looking for high value stuff where I can put it in and not really worry about like volatility, like crazy, like 100 up, 100% in 1 second and 100% down the next, right? So that's kind of why I'm saying that. So you can understand that it's not that I think like the cycle could totally get busted by then. It's that I'm going to want to have more cash because I will believe that that part of the cycle may be close to end. And we're talking not about like stuff that I'm long-term invested into. We're talking about the stuff that I have in my portfolio that, if it went to a bear, would I be comfortable holding it, right? And at that point, right, from June on, end of June on to July, August, September, Oliva had made all my investments already. I've done tons of investments. So I've already planned ahead, put out capital, and now I'm going to kind of ride the waves of the cycle, still trade, but that's why I'm going to do it. And I think it's really important for people to hear this because they should be thinking about this too. So everyone should be thinking about this. All right, so a new project that maybe you guys have not heard of, you probably heard me tweet about it before, it's called KASU. So what KASU is doing is taking the idea of DeFi, attaching real world assets to it where to make real money. Like for example, if you rent out an apartment complex and it makes 8% per year, right, profit, then you could share that with people. You could get into those deals with smaller amounts of money than being a huge financer like BlackRock and being able to buy $1 billion worth of properties and make money from them from that. And so this is going to give you many different avenues to be able to invest in different types of pools, become liquidity providers, and earn a real yield, whether it be ETH or USDT or KASU token, but real yield. You're going to get something back that you can actually sell. They have a launch partner called Apixium. These guys have won awards. They literally have, as you can see right here, $2 billion of invoicing going down and 150 million potentially with KASU. So there's already opportunities that they have created for themselves here. So that's why I like KASU, because everyone was focusing on getting more tokens all the time from their DeFi staking programs. And that doesn't really work because people need cash to be able to spend money and do what they need to do or buy what they want to buy. And selling pressure from the token is not always ideal because you need lots of liquidity to be able to sell the tokens as you earn them, right? So it's kind of counteracting what's the problem with the staking models that we have now. It's saying, let's stake to earn actual assets. That makes a lot of sense to me. So that's what KASU is. They're coming out soon, so I'm telling you about it now, obviously, as always, to get you guys into projects before they actually launch. Let me know what you guys thought about this video, what you think about my plan for stopping investments, what you think about where Bitcoin is gonna go, where you think about RWAs and this DeFi RWA will go. I wanna hear your opinions, and if there's things that I've missed that you really love, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Have yourselves a good one. I'm gonna see you guys in Dubai. See you later, guys.